As a business owner or a financial advisor, how much of your career success is luck versus how much of it is skill? Time to think like an investor. Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Josh and I run a wealth management business, and that's kind of what this video is about. I want to talk about how much of the career success, even the small amount that I may have had so far, is luck versus how much of it is skill. And if you're self-employed or if you're a freelancer or whatever, you kind of understand this paradox, right? It feels like in your business, at some points, actually at most points, you just can't catch a break, and it's unbelievably difficult to run a business. But at the same time, you also hold the notion that, man, I've gotten lucky so many different times and there's been so much serendipity that has allowed this to happen. So today I kind of want to walk through my story of how much luck I've run into over the course of my career, because I talk about being able to run your business and not going to university and doing your own thing and finding your own path. Well, is that realistic? How much of this is just completely luck and serendipity, and how much of it was actually my actions that created some piece of success for myself? First things first, there's really many different types of luck, and I want to walk through what the different types of luck are, but the best way to do that is to kind of walk through some stories. And if you're not even sure of how I got started in the business, or you're brand new to the channel, it really all started with getting involved with the whole Gary Vee shtick, right? Like, if you want to become successful in your career in the 21st century, everybody is their own media company, and it's a great idea for you to start creating online content. At the time, I was like 14 or 15 years old, and I was super into the world of investing and building wealth, and I was reading every book I could get my hands on. Books like The Richest Man in Babylon, The Wealthy Barber, Intelligent Investor, and like hundreds of other books. And I mean hundreds. I was reading everything I could because I was so fascinated by it. And I actually started blogging. And when I was 15 years old, kind of super uninformed, didn't really know what I was talking about, but I started creating content. And here's where a massive piece of I would say really my first big piece of luck came into my life and my career, was that some random group of kids online whose dads were like hedge fund managers, and one kid was running a investment firm when he was like 17 years old and all this crazy stuff. It was called the Leaders Investment Club. They came across this blog I was writing and invited me into this club, which was kind of really weird, but it was actually very impressive what these kids were up to, maybe because of family connections or whatever. But we ended up getting to meet people within, like, if you've heard of Paul Tudor Jones, he's a famous hedge fund manager. We get to meet all sorts of different people online and network with people on Wall Street. Over time, this club of kids finds ourselves getting offered to be in something called the Business Insider 20 Under 20 in Finance list. So at the age of like 15 or 16 years old, I was included in this article of the top 20 under 20 kids in finance. And it's like, I had been trading stocks for like a year or two, and I didn't really know all that much, and I was just reading books and creating a blog. But all of a sudden I'm in this Business Insider article that's getting like 1 million hits. And that's really where things started to take off. From that article in Business Insider, local papers and the national paper in Canada where I live started reaching out to have a story on me in their paper. One was called the Globe and Mail, one was called the Free Press where I live. And all of a sudden this started spiraling into this like media attention thing where I was this young investing whiz kid trading his own money and all this sort of thing. And now I actually kind of had leverage. I had all these different articles about me that I could use to potentially get a job placement or show other people that I had kind of some sort of credential or understanding of the investment world that would allow me to get my first job. This was all completely luck. All of this was luck. I started writing a blog, and it was completely blind luck that I was found by this other group of kids, and we made our way into the media, and all these things started to happen. So this is really where a massive piece of this all really comes together. And then what I did from there is I took all those articles, and I had a little investment track record that was like 2 years long, and I put it in an email, and I cold emailed like 20 or 30, probably even more than that, of financial advisors, wealth managers, and finance people in the city where I lived. And most of them never responded. Probably 75% of them never responded. 5% of them probably took the time to write back to me and tell me I was a loser and I should probably go get a real job. And actually 1 or 2 of them said, you know what, your story's kind of cool. When I was your age, someone gave me the time of day, so why don't we go for coffee? Why don't we go for lunch? I'll teach you about the business. Now, that was luck as well. It was just luck that I threw out all these messages and somebody happened to respond. And the really lucky thing was, one of the people I went to meet with, his name was Sean. He was a very successful advisor in my city, and he actually was very close with the recruiting manager of an investment dealer in the city where he was actually going to help me get a job placement. So you start to see how all these puzzle pieces kind of fall together. Started writing a blog, luckily get featured in this group of crazy whiz kids, get put in Business Insider, in the national media, and now I've got myself a job placement. And this all happened within the course of like 18 months or 2 years. Now, none of this luck to mention the fact that I started in the business in 2016. I started in the investment management business in 2016. Here's a chart of what the stock market has done since 2016. It's been a pretty fantastic run. Had I started in 2007 or 2008, or had I started before a major market crash, maybe I wouldn't have survived. Maybe none of this would have happened. Now, I had been working in the investment management business for a few years and I was really enjoying what I was doing, but the company that I was working with didn't really align with the way I wanted to run my practice. And I always wanted to have my own name on the door. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be a business person that ran my own thing. The tricky part was there's all these non-compete clauses. Like if I have my book of clients within this other business, they're gonna wanna make sure I'm not just using their resources and jumping ship. So of course they make you sign a non-compete, and I was always bothered by that because I knew this was a stepping stone. I knew I wanted to start my own company, and I thought maybe there would be legal issues if something were to happen, if I were to leave and take those clients with me. Now here's another massive piece of luck. Just as I was getting ready to transition into building my own business, there was a massive corporate shakeup at the company I was working with, and many of my managers and their managers all got fired. So now I was in a business where nobody was really overseeing me. The last thing on anybody's mind was this young 20-year-old kid who was trying to move his small little book of business outside of the company. And at that point, it was a perfect time for me to transition. And there were essentially no ramifications whatsoever. No one was upset, no one got mad. I essentially took my business and started my own thing because the company had much larger fish to fry. It was one of those timing scenarios where it was just unbelievably lucky how everything shaked out. Now, all of these things kind of culminated into the place where I am now, which is running my own business and having enough demand where I'm kind of like completely referral based. I don't spend a ton of my time in my business anymore looking for new clients because it's my existing clients who are sending clients to me. And doing things like YouTube or being online creates this buzz where people start to see me as an authority, at least in my community, and come to me for financial advice and financial services. So I'm at this weird place now where I've almost have luck coming to me because of the position I built in my industry. So it's wild to think about all the way back over these last 5 years, how hard it's been to make this thing happen and how many little pieces of luck were required to actually make this a thing. So the last video file in our recordings was corrupted, so I have to reshoot this last part from my new home office, which is actually right behind me, as you can't really see a ton of it. But if you guys want to see actually a tour of my new home office and apartment, make sure to get this video to 1,000 likes or just tell me in the comments and we'll do a video like that. But anyways, back to what I was saying. I think that when we think about luck and skill in our careers, one thing we have to understand is that in anywhere where luck is involved, it's going to show up the most at the start. At the beginning of your career, there's so much going on, you don't really know, you can't really predict what's going to happen in terms of the luck that comes from you. It's kind of all serendipitous. But as time goes on, you get further and further into your career, the skill part starts to play out. If you have enough time to kind of generate a network or you have enough time to build a clientele, eventually people are going to see you as the specialist, and that luck kind of dissipates and it kind of becomes skill. Over time, luck starts to find you. So that's been my experience with luck, guys, and I appreciate that if you like this video whatsoever or found any value at all, make sure to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on post notifications for more videos just like this one every single week. Until next time.